from musicplayers.com, NAMM 2025. We're here with Chris from AudioScape. He's going to tell us about his new product here.
Yes, thanks for stopping by. Yes, we have, first up we have the stereo EQP2A. So most people know the Pultec was the original EQP 1A, which is a mono unit, so we decided to call it the EQP 2A. And this one's a little bit different in the sense that versus our EQP-A, we did change the color. Like, there was multiple variant of colors going on back then, and this is more like the Battleship Gray that people seem to like a lot, so we added that. Some of the knobs are a little bit different, but internally wise, like the internals, everything's pretty much the same as how we were making our mono EQP-As. And I think it's great that people have a stereo option if they want to save space, because rack space is always at a premium, you know?
That's true.
So we have that, and we also have our new deluxe bus we just announced, like literally like an hour ago. We just announced this thing, and it's not coming till later in the year. We just want people to know that it exists, and it's awesome. And we've recreated the 202C gold cans exactly like the original, where we actually got the original dual transistors, which is a huge part of the sound. It took a while to find them too, and that's, I think, something that a lot of people don't talk about. Like, what's different that AudioScape's doing is by building everything in the US, we can also not only employ people here in the US building it by hand, which is cool and awesome, but we can find parts that were used back then. There's a huge catch of all these surplus parts, and we can put it into everything. So it's, I think that's like one of the coolest things that we do, the fact that we're able to find these old rare parts and put them in these devices.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah.
It does make a huge difference in the final sound. It's like, to me, it's night and day versus using some modern parts. You have to find those, they're like the critical parts of the engine that make it go. So as far as options go versus our G-Bus, which we're still selling our G-Bus. Some people are like, they think we're discontinuing the G-Series, and it's a completely different compressor to me than the G-Series, which is awesome. It's got subtle glue. This is more aggressive, especially in the low end. It's beefier. The bottom end's a lot different than the G-Series. And what's also awesome is we've added all these crazy options, as you can tell, because a lot of people have been requesting more options on our products. So you'll see that being a recurring theme at NAMM for us here, that you're going to get some more options, and now you don't have to sacrifice quality to get more options, basically. But you can see we've added a link control. Many people don't know this, but the internal design of the original SSL bus compressor was internally linked, and that's part of the sound. So now you can unlink it if you want. We've added a slam control, which is, this switch basically is like a 20-to-1 ratio that just slams the compression, and it's got a little bit of makeup gain involved when you hit this too. And I think it's just using this compressor in a different way than most people. It's a kind of a cool, creative thing you can add. And then we've also added a blend control. So if you want to slam it and then dial it back so it's not so aggressive, say you're slamming your drum bus or whatever, it makes having the blend control more useful, because a lot of people like to use an SSL bus comp in a more traditional, like, not so heavy-handed manner. So there's really, when you're using it more subtly, there's really no need for a blend control. So having that ability to slam the compressor if you want to and blend it back is really handy. We've also added the stereo width control, which is something that we'll get into more later, like as we start getting closer to release on these. But I know there's some people that they're not like super into having a stereo width on a bus comp type of design on a stereo bus comp, but this is something that's a little bit different. And honestly, we've tried a lot of different width circuits, and this one is definitely the best. And if you want to defeat it, you can pull it out. So it's just completely out of the circuit altogether. So I think that's something important to note for anyone that's a purist. You can completely switch it out of the circuit. The threshold control, that's pretty much the same as our standard G-Series. We have added additional ratio options. So there's 6 different ratio options. There's 11 different attack times now, 11 different release times. There's still the same makeup gain amounts as our G-Series with 20 dB. And then there's 6 sidechain high-pass filter values. And then we've also added transformers for saturation if you want that as well. We've also, we've gone with the traditional 3 push button look that you see on the original SSL bus comp from back then. We've even found the same color plastic they used in that on the outer of the switches. To us, those little details are important. Because if you nail those little details, you know we're nailing the sound as well.
Right. Okay, so now as far as cost on each product, what?
In the US, where we sell direct to customers, which might be different internationally, in the US, our traditional bus comp's price is $699 right now.
Okay.
This will be priced at $999.
Okay.
So if you still want just a no-frills killer bus comp, the G Series, like the more white color one that we sell, is awesome for that. So, but if you want something with a little bit more exploratory options, a little bit more aggressive, then the E Series might be your ticket.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris from AudioScape. This is Angel from musicplayers.com at NAMM 2025. Have a great show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.